Good evening and thank you for joining us. Daniel Harper has always been a man of principle. Last Saturday began as an ordinary day. As Daniel entered the park, he noticed a group of teenagers playing frisbee near the entrance. One of them glanced in his direction and said something that made the others laugh. Daniel thought little of it and continued along the winding path that led to the park's pond. It wasn't until he reached the bridge that he encountered his first confrontation. A young woman with a stroller and a golden retriever stopped abruptly in front of him, blocking his way. "Excuse me," she said, her voice sharp. "Why are you wearing that here?" Daniel, caught off guard, replied, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." She gestured to his hat. "That's a symbol of hate," she said. "It's offensive to a lot of people." Daniel tried to defuse the situation. As Daniel continued his walk, he noticed that other parkgoers were staring at him, whispering to one another as he passed. Near the playground, a man in his 30s approached him and said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." Daniel, bewildered, asked, "Ashamed of what?" The man pointed to his hat. "That thing represents everything that's wrong with this country." The situation escalated when Daniel reached the park's cafe. At this point, other customers began to notice the exchange. Some started filming on their phones, while others voiced their opinions. One woman in line said, "Good for you," directing her comment at the barista. Another man chimed in, "This is America. He has a right to wear what he wants." The tension in the cafe was palpable. Daniel decided to leave rather than argue. By the time Daniel reached his truck, he felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief. "I sat there for a long time before starting the engine," he said. "I couldn't understand how things had gotten to this point. I've lived in this town my whole life. I've helped people in their worst moments. And yet, because of a hat, I was treated like I didn't belong." The story didn't end there. Local news outlets picked up the story, and soon Daniel found himself at the center of a media firestorm. Reporters camped outside his home, eager for a comment. "I didn't know what to do," Daniel said. "I never asked for this attention. I just wanted to live my life." Legal experts weighed in on the controversy. Attorney Sheila Parker explained, "While businesses do have the right to refuse service, they cannot do so on discriminatory grounds. Political expression, while not a protected class like race or religion, occupies a gray area. This case could set an important precedent." Sociologists and cultural commentators also joined the conversation. Dr. Elena Ramirez observed, "The MAGA hat has transcended its original purpose as a campaign slogan. It has become a symbol loaded with meaning, positive or negative, depending on one's perspective. Incidents like this are a microcosm of the larger cultural and political divides in our society." Meanwhile, the cafe faced backlash from both sides. As for Daniel, the experience has left him questioning much about his community and his place in it. "I still love this town," he said, "but it's hard not to feel like something has changed. I've always believed in treating people with respect, even if we disagree. I just wish others felt the same way." The story of Daniel Harper is a powerful reminder of the challenges we face as a nation. It forces us to confront difficult questions. How do we balance freedom of expression with the need for inclusivity? At what point does disagreement become discrimination? And most importantly, how do we begin to bridge the divides that seem to grow wider every day? Perhaps the answer lies not in winning arguments, but in building understanding. As Daniel himself put it, "We don't have to agree on everything. But if we can't treat each other with kindness, what kind of country are we leaving for our kids?"